You're watching CT22 with Eric Parker, sponsored by Hartford Healthcare.
Welcome back. Sports gaming was legalized last year in Connecticut. It went live in October. The big sell on legalizing it was that it would bring millions, possibly even billions of dollars of revenue to the state. But with the good comes the not so good, gambling addiction. New information out last week shows calls to Connecticut's gambling hotline are up significantly. As we head into this next interview, we're showing where you can get help if gambling is affecting your life in a negative way. You see the phone number right there on your screen. That's the number for the Connecticut Council on Problem Gaming. It's 888-789-7777. You can also get help by texting CTGAMB to 53342. Hear from the Connecticut Council on Problem Gambling is its executive director, Diana Goode. Diana, we covered a lot about sports gambling as it was coming. A lot of people interested to know when it would begin, how much revenue. But you're looking at it from a different perspective. Problem gambling is a big issue and maybe even bigger so now, right?
Much bigger now, absolutely. And I always start by saying that the Connecticut Council isn't for or against gambling. We are not the fun police. We are not here to tell people how to spend their disposable income. We just want to make sure as gambling becomes easier and more accessible, that there are safeguards in place for people who gamble and it becomes a problem. And we're very concerned about those safeguards right now because gambling has certainly become more accessible and easier.
Now, we led into this by giving the phone number for the helpline and the text helpline. I saw Frankie Graziano from WNPR reported a 96% year-over-year increase when looking at December calls, excuse me. That's staggering to me. Is it to you?
It is staggering to me. To be honest with you, normally before October 7th, when gambling was legalized, it took a little while for gamblers to hit rock bottom. A lot of times gamblers would drain their 401k, they'd get a second mortgage on their house, max out their credit cards. And it took a little while for them to realize that gambling was control and they had lost everything. Right now, people can lose everything in a day. We thought we would have a couple months before people hit rock bottom and started calling the helpline saying that they'd lost everything, online gambling or sports betting. And that's definitely not been the case. People are losing everything really quickly and are hitting rock bottom really quickly. One of the statistics we used before all of this is if you lived within 40 miles of a casino, the odds doubled that you would become a problem gambler. Now everyone has a casino in their house. So we really shouldn't be surprised that things have really taken a turn for the worse for a lot of people. But I'm really surprised at how fast people have hit rock bottom.
Is that a big piece of it? Is that for many of these sports bets, you can do it. You can pull your phone out and do it, not just in your home, anywhere you are, that you have the urge, the desire. And of course, addiction can lead to that urge and desire in a negative way. So is that something that you're sort of uphill fighting against, that there is that ease of access that exacerbates the problem?
Ease of access is a really big part of the problem. Prior to October 7th, there was a little bit of thought that had to go into gambling. You had to get up, you had to put clothes on, you had to drive to the casino. A lot of times, if you spent too much time at the casino, you went home, you had to take a break and then go back to the casino. You had to drive home. Now you don't have that break. You don't have that time to think about what you're doing or potentially to cool off because you're gambling too much. It's just too easy. Right now, you don't have to put clothes on. You don't have to drive anywhere. Your phone is just as easy as anything to gamble. Your computer, it's right there, tip of your fingertips.
I know you recently talked to the General Assembly about this very topic. And one of the things that came up in that hearing is that while calls to your helpline are through the roof, actual treatment may not be reflecting that, at least not yet. Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services has a Better's Choice program, and they say they're kind of the same year over year. So if you're up almost 100%, there are similar numbers year to year. What does that tell you?
I think it's just taking a little while for people to get enrolled into treatment. I think there are two kinds of calls that we're seeing right now to the helpline. One, from people who are desperate and want to get into treatment right away. So that's something that's been consistent year after year. Another thing that we're seeing that's kind of new to us are calls from people who are saying, wow, online gambling is so dangerous. This is really scary to me. I feel like I'm getting out of control. What can I do to stay in control? So we've designed a new website for tips and tricks for people. If they do feel like they're getting out of control, there's some things that they can do to take a step back. So I think A lot of people are just realizing how dangerous it can be for them and are calling us for help about how to take a break, how to step back.
I saw a statement this week from the folks at Mohegan Sun. They said, we take this obligation seriously, talking about their need to deal with problem gambling. Foxwoods talking to the legislature as well about how much money they contribute. Is it enough? Do you want more? What would you like to see happen?
So there's a lot of funding that's going to treatment through the Department of Mental Health, and that's fantastic. Treatment is great. I said in front of the state legislatures that if you're a problem gambler, you want to be a problem gambler in Connecticut because our treatment is phenomenal. The problem is getting people into that treatment. So our calls are up. Everyone at the Connecticut Council is answering these helplines because our staffing hasn't come back to pre-pandemic levels. So we really would like to hire additional staff to answer all of these helpline calls and get people into treatment. We'd also like to do a lot more as far as prevention and advertising our helpline in our website, not just a problem gambling website, but the website that's for prevention and gives you tips and tricks about how to gamble responsibly. And we can't do that. You can't go anywhere without seeing ads for DraftKings, FanDuel, Sugar House, Lottery, everybody. And we would really like to be advertising our helpline as well. We think our helpline is the best kept secret in Connecticut, and that's really not the way you want to run your helpline. We want everyone to know that there's help out there, and that takes money. And we really would like additional funding to be able to promote that helpline.
Now, we got about a minute left, Diana. I don't want to simplify what you do, but you've been talking about the tips and tricks and being able to give stuff. Maybe there's a viewer of this program today who's not ready to pick up that phone or text or make the call. But can you give us something for someone who maybe feels like they're on the edge of losing control? Anything you can tell them, or what do your operators on the helpline tell them?
Yeah, set a time limit, set a money limit. Figure out how much you can afford to lose and then stop when you get to that number. Take a break. A lot of times people are chasing their losses. They keep losing, and they think eventually they have to win. It doesn't actually work that way. So just take a break, take a step back and regroup. But definitely setting time limits and money limits are the best ways to stay in control.
All right, Diana Goode, Executive Director of the Connecticut Council on Problem Gambling. We appreciate you being with us here on CT22. And as we let you go, Diana, I want to show you the gambling hotline one more time. If you need help with a gambling problem, you can call 888-789-7777. You can also text CTGAMB to 53342.